People who naturally attract others don't chase attention. They don't push harder. They don't bend over backwards to please everyone. What they do is actually much simpler. A handful of small habits, so subtle they're almost invisible, can completely transform the energy they bring into a room. And these 5 habits changed the way people responded to me almost immediately. Now, to be honest, I wasn't born with some magnetic personality. Quite the opposite. Growing up, I was incredibly shy. I never volunteered answers in class. I hardly ever spoke up in group settings. My mom even teamed up with one of my teachers to help me come out of my shell. And my friends, the people closest to me, would often say things like, "Kim, you're so quiet." The reality was that I was deeply afraid of being judged or criticized. Fast forward to today, and things couldn't be more different. I genuinely enjoy walking into a room full of people I've never met before. I love starting conversations and speaking in front of groups. Honestly, it feels almost like a game now. Last summer, I was invited to a private mastermind event for successful entrepreneurs hosted by Ali Abdaal. I didn't know a single person there, and yet I had an amazing time. I simply allowed myself to enjoy meeting new people, and it opened the door to all kinds of opportunities. I had some fantastic conversations, including one with Ali himself. I met a lot of interesting people and continued many of those conversations afterward. Some of them have reached out about pre-ordering my book that's coming out next summer, and others have invited me to future events. The old version of me would never have believed it. So what changed? Honestly, nothing magical happened. It came down to these 5 simple habits that I'm about to share with you. Let's dive in. Habit number 1, the 2-second eye contact rule. Magnetic people use eye contact as a way to connect, not to intimidate. There's actually research supporting this. People who maintain eye contact around 60–70% of the time are generally viewed as more confident, more likable, and even more trustworthy. But here's the tiny adjustment that makes all the difference. When you're greeting someone or talking with them, hold eye contact for about 2 seconds longer than feels completely natural. That's it. Quick disclaimer though, I'm definitely not suggesting that you stare at people without blinking like you're in a thriller movie. Please don't do that. This is simply about being fully present. It's about making the other person feel that they're worthy of your attention for those extra couple of seconds. I've noticed how powerful this can be in everyday situations. One time I tested it while ordering coffee. I held eye contact with a barista for just a moment longer than usual, and immediately she smiled more warmly. Her entire energy shifted. It was a tiny moment, but it made me realize how much of a difference it can make. I saw the same thing when I was practicing medicine. Whenever I sat down with patients and maintained eye contact for just a little longer, their shoulders would relax. They seemed more at ease. They felt acknowledged. And it only took 2 extra seconds. It's such a small adjustment, but it communicates something powerful. I see you. I'm fully here. And people respond to that. But eye contact isn't the only signal people are picking up on. Long before you say your first word, you're already communicating something else, something that can either strengthen or weaken a first impression. And most people get this wrong without even realizing it. I definitely did. I used to enter rooms with rounded shoulders and crossed arms, practically trying to blend into the background, and unsurprisingly, people reacted to me accordingly. Quiet, reserved, easy to overlook. Everything started to change when I made one simple adjustment. I call it the open posture reset, and it's habit number 2. Here's the thing. Before you've spoken a single word, your body has already made an introduction on your behalf. People are constantly picking up signals from your posture, your shoulders, and the way you carry yourself when you enter a room. Magnetic people don't make themselves smaller. They take up space naturally. They're not trying to appear bigger or more important than they are. They're simply communicating one message. I belong here. Research supports this idea as well. You may be familiar with Amy Cuddy's work at Harvard on power poses. While researchers continue to debate some of the long-term findings, one thing remains clear. Posture absolutely influences how others perceive you in the moment. And perhaps even more importantly, it affects how you perceive yourself. So here's the tiny habit. Whenever you walk into a room or sit down with someone, do a quick body check. Uncross your arms, let your shoulders relax, turn your body toward the person you're speaking with. Think of it as a 1-second reset. A few years ago, I attended a large cocktail mixer at a writers' conference in New York City. I didn't know a single person there, but before walking in, I made a decision. I would enter the room as though I belonged there. Not as though I was the most important person in the room, not pretending to be someone I wasn't, just with my head up, shoulders relaxed, and open to connecting with people. The difference was incredible. I ended up meeting countless writers, editors, and literary agents. I even had the chance to meet Lee Child himself, the creator of Jack Reacher. That evening reinforced something important for me. When your body communicates, I belong here,
people can feel it, and they respond to you in a completely different way. But posture by itself isn't enough. You can appear confident on the outside and still leave people feeling as though you never truly noticed them. And this is where so many of us get stuck. We become so focused on our own nervousness or on figuring out what we're going to say next that the other person walks away thinking, nice person, but nothing memorable. By the way, if you'd like help building habits like these into your everyday life, I want to quickly mention something I created for you. It's called The Reset. It's a free 5-day challenge designed to help you reset your energy, sharpen your focus, and strengthen your confidence. You'll find the link below if you'd like to check it out. Okay, let's get back to it. The habit that completely changes this dynamic is one of the simplest things I've ever learned. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it instantly makes people feel important. I call it the name echo, and it's habit number 3. Here's the secret. Magnetic people make others feel noticed. One of the easiest ways to do that is by naturally using a person's name during conversation. Not excessively, just naturally. There's fascinating neuroscience behind this. Hearing your own name activates specific regions of the brain. It's almost like a small burst of positive emotion. Even when people don't visibly react, there's something powerful about hearing their own name. So here's the habit. When you meet someone, try using their name 3 times. Once when you first greet them, once somewhere naturally in the middle of the conversation, and once more when you're saying goodbye. That's it. And trust me, this works even if you're terrible with names. Because honestly, I used to be awful at remembering them. Someone would introduce themselves and 5 seconds later, I'd already forgotten their name. It was embarrassing. But forcing myself to